Hi, I'm Leon Long, Vice President, General Manager of WLOX Television.
And I'm Dave Vincent, News Director and Station Manager here at WLOX.
You know, the day after the storm, I think one of the first things we did was we traveled down to Highway 90 to see what was left of the road and the boardwalk where we found missing planks, saw lots of sand and debris littered in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, a lot of this boardwalk had just been built right before. In fact, this right here had built just right before the storm, and you can see a lot of it, almost all of it's gone.
The Broadwater Marina, you know, I can remember in 1962, it was a brand new attraction. They had just opened this marina up. It was featured in sales magazines for Lincoln Mercury automobiles. It was really a landmark on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and there it is today.
Yeah, it was one of the really prime real estates for having a place where you could put your boat, of course.
Then there was that little area that was just beyond the Broadwater, between the Broadwater and the Treasure Bay Casino, which will come into sight shortly. And there's the barge that was the Treasure Bay. It's been turned sideways by the storm.
Yeah, we should say now, of course, we're in Biloxi in case you may not know the landmark. This casino has had so many problems because it's really exposed to the sea, and as you can see here in this shot, the water just went through it and just really destroyed it.
You can clearly see through it in the little castle that's set next to it. It's just in front of what was originally a Sheraton Hotel, later became the Royal d'Iberville, and then morphed into the Treasure Bay.
This is sort of what they call the Strip in Biloxi, an area where entertainment's been in this part of town for 50, 60, 70 years.
This vacant lot is the former site of the old Sun and Sand Hotel, another property that was well known through the 60s and 70s, had an overpass over Highway 90. And this is the newest development that we've seen, a condominium project built on the south side of Highway 90. This is the area one of the few areas south of Highway 90 that can be developed. And, of course, there was a Taurus Steakhouse and a lot of Bosch's, the Bosch family, Emerald Beach Motel.
Emerald Beach Motel, yeah.
And there were fast food restaurants along this area and an amusement park.
Yeah, we're coming up on the amusement park where there's a dinosaur that made it back from Camille. I don't know if we'll see it here, but it was just still there. But
yeah, the old Goofy Golf course.
Yeah, that's where it was.
And the dinosaur that made it, and then morphed into the Magic Golf after Goofy Golf.
And we're in an area right now where there's a lot of kind of fast food restaurants that are built on the coast just south of Highway 90.
Utter devastation. Just so many empty slabs. There's Magic Golf in the site of the dinosaur.
Yeah, we might see it. I don't know I guess we won't. But as Leon was saying, it's just utter destruction. There's really a few signs. The signs seem to make it.
Ruby Tuesday, Waffle House.
Waffle House, yeah.
Of course. And as we get closer,
there was a pizza
Roadburn
place right in here, Leon, as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And that the old Shoney's restaurant, which became a Mexican restaurant. And then you get to the foot of Rodenberg Avenue, and that was kind of that end of that area where you could to see it develop. And this was that famous, great big, huge souvenir city that was the pink souvenir shops that were all tied together. They left that multi-story building and then stepped down and went across the foot of Rodenberg.
And anyone who's been on the coast in the last 5-10 years had a big shark out front of it.
Yeah, shark heads. Then this is an area of the beach that Mississippi State University sent some of their architectural and landscape engineers down here to work and rebuild.
And you can see all their work, really, it's gone. There's nothing really, just sand there. But they had some areas there where really had done a lot of work. I think we're looking at it right now. This is that area.
This is the Biloxi Lighthouse area, actually, south of the lighthouse, the pier, the beach, the cut that comes up to I-110. So we did a little jump. We jumped ahead from Rodenberg Avenue up to about the foot of Porter Avenue. And we'll travel along and see I-110 that went out over the water and tied I-10.
Yeah, you're coming up. Should be coming up now on the Beau Rivage will be coming up just as soon as we go past here's the I-110 loop coming up right here. I-110 loop actually did quite well on this end at least.
It's kind of interesting to see an automobile. I mean, all you see as you travel down Highway 90 immediately following the storm are cars doing what we're doing, trying to record the events, or see others who are trying to repair and work at improving and rebuilding the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
And if you look at the Beau Rivage, which we're going past right now, from the looking at it outside, it appears there's not that much damage, but we hear that there's so much damage inside that actually will be probably 18 months, probably at the end of 2000. Actually, going to open it up August 29th, 2006. They plan to reopen.
Much of the damage that we've seen thus far has been caused by the water that was a rising water, the storm surge. And the Beau Rivage certainly got its share of storm surge, but much of the damage was also caused because their roof was penetrated and rainwater came in and just cascaded down from floor to floor.
Mm-hmm. Now we're coming up to one of the condominiums here on the
Windjammer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like the first 2 floors, of course, that are gone.
This would be the brand new site of the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah.
They were scheduled to open. Literally, we're doing a soft open at the end of August when Hurricane Katrina came through. The Ruth's Chris Steakhouse held a VIP party and a training session for their employees the Saturday before the storm approached on that Sunday.
And if you could look at the southern side of it, we won't see it, but it was really utter destruction back there. Actually, from the road, it doesn't look that bad, but on the backside, the Hard Rock was just destroyed.
And as we enter now the Biloxi Small Craft Harbor,
you'll see where McElroy's is. We've just passed it. Really, it's all gone. McElroy's is no longer there. One of the famous old seafood restaurants in Biloxi, the Small Craft Harbor.
Off in the distance, on the horizon, you can see little pieces and parts of Deer Island. Deer Island, like most of the barrier islands, suffered a lot of damage, much erosion. Trees were gone. What structure was on the islands are now gone, whether it was the lighthouses or some private structure that was there.
And this is the we're going to Biloxi Small Craft,
and it's the Biloxi Yacht Club's pier in front of the Biloxi Yacht Club and the Tradewinds Hotel. And as we leave there, we'll head quickly to what we call the Strip, as far as the Casino Row area. Coming up first will be the Grand Casino's parking garage.
Yep.
Missing from this video on this side of the highway is the actual casino barge, which was tied right behind the structure that you'll see coming into the screen on the left side.
Yeah,
that was the moorings.
Yeah, right there, right you're looking at right now, right behind there was where the barge was, and it's gone. Now the hotel, this is a hotel on the south side. There was a hotel on the north side.
This is Casino Magic, their hotel. The shared parking lot between the Grand and the Magic.
Now we're going to the Isle of Capri. Will be coming up shortly. And this is Casino Magic here.
Yeah.
They may or may not reopen here. We're not sure at this time. Received a lot of damage. And then this is a new hotel that the Isle had just finished building. It received quite a bit of damage, but they have reopened so many rooms, a few hundred rooms already.
Yeah.
And they plan to open about
December 26th.
December 26th, yeah.
So
now we're going, turning north, turning around actually. You can see, looking at the north side.
That's the Palace Casino in the background, deep in the background, on the back bay of Biloxi. This was the beautiful area of oak trees that hugged the shoreline. One of the few spots in the country where we had these beautiful live oaks that grew at the water's edge. Much of this was commercial development, but there were a lot of old homes.
And we're fast approaching St. Michael's Church. I had a chance to walk inside there. It's just really utter destruction inside. One of the really beautiful and interesting churches. Here's the barge you were talking about, Leon.
Yeah, this is the barge. I believe that is the Grand Casino barge that tore loose from the moorings and moved to the north side.
And when you walk around these on the land, they're really, really huge. This is the parking garage and hotel of the Grand Casino. From this side, it really doesn't look like that much damage, but there is a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think that first barge we saw may not have been the Grand. That was the Isle.
That was the Isle, right, yeah.
The Grand Casino barge ended up at the Tullis Manor side.
Yeah, it'll be coming up in a minute. This is still the Grand Casino. There's a walkway going to the north side. They will reopen. Still a lot of damage. It's hard to tell all the damage just by looking at it off the road.
Look at our beautiful oak trees.
Yeah.
That just were stripped of their foliage.
Didn't take people started rebuilding right away. Oh, that's one thing that was very interesting about the coast. They did not wait. They got in there and started doing what they could. This is kind of the parking area right here where the Grand was, and you can see, like Leon said, all the trees have. These are oak trees and lost all the foliage. Now this is the barge, I think, from the Grand Casino here.
Right. Set on the place where the Tullis Manor resided. And
these are so huge. I mean, you just don't realize how large these are and how much water it took to push this that far away from the water's edge.
Lost in all this, of course, are the beautiful sites like the Tullis Manor, where we would gather together as a community and light Christmas trees that represent the cultures of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Next to that was the Orr O'Keefe Museum,
Which has just started building and is still. Now this is
that's the Tivoli.
This Tivoli, an old building here on the coast, received a lot of damage. And this is another barge. I guess this may be Casino Magic's. Casino Magic or the Grand Barge. I'm not sure which one.
It's one of the casino barges that did float north.
This is an area that really, getting down near the O'Keefe home, small, also Biloxi Yacht Club, I guess, was right past there.
One of the condominium projects built on this north side of the highway.
You see the first 2 floors are all blown out.
Yeah, and much damage to those top floors.
Now this is coming up on the O'Keefe and that homes. And many of these, there were homes here, and they're just, all there's left is a few bricks for the foundation. But everything, they were all beautiful homes in all this area, and they're all gone.
And many of them had survived Hurricane Camille. As I see those steps, I'm reminded of that famous chant, Steps to Nowhere. And here we are again with homes that survived Camille that could not withstand Katrina.
We should be coming up not long now on the memorial. I guess we've already passed the memorial.
Yeah. It's the site of a couple of little hotels and then
and this
Santa
is
Maria
Santa Maria
del Mar.
Yeah, this was a retirement home.
So you're at Main Street in Biloxi.
That's
as
right.
you approach.
That was a McDonald's right there. It's gone. It was at the Main and there, and we're on Pass Road still.
On Highway 90.
This is the town green. That was a turn of the century beautiful home that served as sort of a tourist welcome center.
The Brillmeyer home.
It's destroyed. It's all gone. That's on Muse Street we're just passing. Be coming up now on Bobby Mahoney and the Mary Mahoney's famous restaurant, Mahoney's. I think that's a parking lot right in there. It just reopened. A lot of damage. Hancock Bank there on the coast.
As you leave there, the next site you'll see is really the site that is currently owned and occupied by the Beau Rivage, but it was the original site for the Buena Vista Hotel. The Buena Vista Hotel was one of the early hotels that in the convention business on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and it stood on this property at the interchange now of I-110 and Highway 90. It's currently a parking lot. It'd be just across the street.
That was the Best Western, yeah. Right there, huh? Yeah.
And there's the Buena Vista site as it sits today.
That's WLOX was located there, back in the 60s.
Right underneath, about that tower where those overpass towers are, is where the WLOX studios were in 1969 when Hurricane Camille displaced us.
Now we're getting ready to go along some areas where quite a few old homes were located.
Many old Biloxi families, the Briscoe family, the Bark family, other families who lived on the Mississippi Gulf Coast had beautiful homes there.
And they're all, as you can see, they're all gone. Occasionally you'll see a house standing that it probably will have to be torn down. A lot of damage still to it, but it might have a ability to stand right now, but I doubt it will make it.
So many tourists would travel to the Mississippi Gulf Coast and enjoy seeing these old homes built at the water's edge just north of Highway 90. Some would stop at the Biloxi Chamber of Commerce, and that's that building there.
Right there.
We just passed the lighthouse. It blurred our vision for a moment. But so many tourists have stopped to take a picture of the lighthouse or to get tourist information from what is now a slab and was part of Biloxi for many, many years. Again, these are the old homes that are between Porter Avenue, and as you head back west from Porter Avenue, you see many of these old homes.
And the reason these houses are probably still standing is because this is a little higher elevation than most of the area of the coast. That's a Hampton Inn there that we're just passing. It reopened not too long, but again, the elevation right in that particular place was a little higher.
Yeah. The Biloxi National Cemetery, no, I'm sorry, not Biloxi National, Biloxi Cemetery, and the Elks Lodge, the site of many social events on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. This is the White House Hotel. Again, a structure that has stood the 1947 hurricane, the hurricane in 1969 named Camille and Katrina.
Yeah, actually, it looked like it did quite well.
The building did well. It was under restoration, or it had already done much of the destruction work, so it's kind of hard to understand how strong that building is until you think about it, what it withstood. Beautiful old homes.
Yeah, you have to realize the storm surge on many of these houses probably was 20, 25 feet, maybe even 30 in some places. That
First Presbyterian Church.
yeah. Also, the Methodist Church is coming up. They have the Methodist Retirement Center that will be coming
Seashore.
up soon. Yeah, Seashore. It was heavily damaged.
Here's the Seashore.
Seashore is Methodist. That's one of the older buildings. That gray building we just passed was one of the older buildings here on the coast. There's the Methodist Church there.
It's difficult to watch this video and not think about memories that are embedded in each one of those church buildings. So many people were married, buried, celebrated great moments in life there. People who lived in these old homes find themselves displaced. It's a new condominium development, the Alaska condominiums, a small project, just gone. And there, we're seeing pieces of the land that we have never seen as we've traveled down Highway 90, because all of the homes that stood at the edge of the 90 of Highway 90 are gone. So you look now, you're looking a block, 2 blocks, or 3 blocks deep.
This was another one of the new condominium projects that was built in the last 5 years. Virtually destroyed.
Yeah, I believe that may be the St. Charles.
St. Charles, I think it is, yes. And one thing I know, people who live along the beach there, after the storm, they'd go out and try to find a few pictures, a few mementos that had a lot of meaning for them.
It's difficult. You see on some of the slabs that people have taken and spray painted the numbers, the house numbers, so that people could find them. Immediately following the storm, so many of the signposts were down, and there was so much debris and litter before the highway was cleaned that it was difficult to navigate. You couldn't find your way. You would travel down a road, and you'd look to the left and you'd look to the right for a landmark, and the landmarks were gone.
And also, even those who know the coast, as you go down a street, maybe it has 10 or 12 houses on the block, with all of them being gone with just the various slabs, it's really hard to pick out one slab from the other unless there's some other identifying mark.
Just saw the White Pillars restaurant, another famous coastal restaurant for many, many years that operated. And this is an area that was made up primarily of smaller hotels and a shopping center and an entertainment district. We're just north of where the development exists, south of Highway 90, where the Goofy Golf and the Shark Heads and the other developments were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
coming up on the site of the famous Gus Stevens restaurant that operated for many, many years and brought many, many famous stars to the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Yeah, now it's a souvenir
shop. It was a souvenir shop prior to the storm, but
there it is,
that's
right there.
The site of the old Gus Stevens restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Veterans Avenue there.
Yeah.
One of the hotels here.
Mm-hmm. And a pile of rubble. Just look at it. And this is videos shot well after much of the rubble has been removed. And of course, Katrina moved a lot of the rubble. Much of the debris line was 2 and 3 blocks in. So it got swept away and moved back. It's the commercial development, again, leading right back up to the former site of the old Sun and Sand Hotel.
Just one of the big piles of debris. Much of that's it was removed in the first month or so after the storm.
The Royal d'Iberville.
Royal d'Iberville, now part of Treasure Bay. It's going to be actually reopening as a casino. They hope to reopen it sometime in late 2000 or summer of 2006. Some more hotels along the coast here.
Another one of our famous souvenir shops. That's Souvenir City.
Mm-hmm. Alberti's,
great
famous
local
Italian
restaurant,
restaurant. It's the old Sheraton. That was a Hilton. I'm sorry.
Hilton.
That was Hilton. We're
Which
coming
came-
up on the Broadwater
Right.
now. Broadwater had just closed right before the storm actually hit. It was going to be redeveloped. Now we're going through the cemetery there as well.
And this is the Broadwater property.
It was very seriously damaged. It was closed at the time.
Last operated as the President Casino Hotel, but as you can see, the bottom structures are gone. The top structures are very damaged. Had they not planned to tear those things down, they would be planning to tear them down now.
This area right here was not developed. Then we're coming up on like residential area, apartments, gas station we're coming up on.
Now,
Which is
the most
level.
important historic site we're going to see, of course, is Beauvoir.
That's right.
The last home of Jefferson Davis. Beauvoir's fence line is here, and what you see behind there is what's left of the structures of Beauvoir.
And really not a lot left. You know, it's really sad just to see. I remember that winding staircase
Yes.
going up in the house right here.
That's the home.
And you know, really very little left of the house, the original house. It's really sad. But there's still enough to bring it back.
Didn't take long. They had a sign up in front of the property asking for help Beauvoir return.
And the next structure we'll be coming up on is our Coast Coliseum, Mississippi Coast Coliseum. A lot of damage inside, 4 or 5 feet of water actually in the floor of the Coliseum, the main arena. Bill Holmes and others spent the night and all day Monday inside there.
Yeah, it became a shelter for some who were caught. There were some storm chasers and others who were caught, had to spend the night at the
President,
Coliseum.
that's the President Casino there. Floated up a long way, actually, and landed right in front of the Holiday Inn.
On top of the Holiday Inn.
In Biloxi there.
That's probably a half mile from where it was moored inside the Broadwater's marina.
That's old Howard Johnson hotel we're just going past there in Biloxi. Some residential areas here as well as another souvenir shop. Soon we'll be coming up on Edgewater Mall, one of our main shopping malls along the coast. This is a Surfside souvenir. It was just blown completely out, as you can see. A gas station. Condominiums, or there were apartments, maybe condominiums right there. You notice all the paper and all the plastic that's just blown. It's just amazing how much plastic you see that's just blown and landed in various trees. So we're coming up now on the first to be the Sears building there, as you say, coming up, and then Edgewater Mall. And there's Sears. A lot of damage inside the mall. In fact, it didn't open up until mid-November of 2005.
Oh, Charlie's Restaurant, many of us have eaten there. And today, parts of a sign are standing and a slab, an empty, vacant slab.
And then another shopping area near Edgewater Mall, Edgewater Village, it was virtually just destroyed. The whole shopping, sort of a strip, outside strip shopping mall, and was virtually destroyed.
The Cajun's Chicken, gone. Empty slab. Apartment buildings beside them, gone.
They'd started a new condominium. You're seeing the construction there of it. It just started. Some of the debris piles were just, 20, 30 feet high.
The Landry Seafood Restaurant.
Wow, yeah. This was some office buildings that you're looking at here.
It's about the Biloxi Gulfport dividing line. This is, if you traveled down Highway 90 from Biloxi headed towards Gulfport, you're soon approaching the A flags display that was that marker that said you were leaving one town and entering another, depending on whether you were traveling west or east.
Even though a good bit of the road's torn up, there was quite a bit of the road actually on Highway 90 that you could travel, at least in Biloxi. In Gulfport, I think was worse, but as you can see, as we've traveled up and down the highway, certain parts of it actually were okay.
Mm-hmm. And the Olive Garden, and the Red Lobster that sit at the foot of DeVries Road. Both were washed out completely. We thought they would be protected a little bit, but the fact they're up on the service drive, which is several feet above the Highway 90 level. Katrina's water and storm surge certainly got tall enough, high enough, strong enough to crawl over the service drive.
And now we're in Gulfport. That was the dividing line between Biloxi and Gulfport. We are now in Gulfport. You're seeing the Red Lobster there. And that's the steakhouse, Ryan's Steakhouse. Yeah. Coming up with one of the newer condominium projects on the coast.
The Legacy condominium really probably fared very well. One tower was complete almost. The other was just starting to do its final form in. Looks like the new construction techniques worked fairly well. They lost some of the lower floors, but the upper floors seemed to survive.
Now going to more of a residential area, beautiful homes here in Gulfport. And you can see the road there torn up too.
Originally developed by the Shannon Waller family and the Gerald Emile family that was living there.
Roy
Anderson's family
lived there.
And the old Broadwater Sea Course, or as it the Great Southern Golf Course, as it's now known, sat here on this beautiful piece of property.
The clubhouse you're looking at, Leon, back there. Huh?
Yeah, the original clubhouse.
Destroyed. No word on whether it will reopen. Hopefully it will.
That pile of debris was the current clubhouse. And then again, we're back into a residential neighborhood. Most of these homes had survived, Camille. If you would have asked us before the storm where you would be safest on Highway 90, I think I would have chosen the service drive in Gulfport because of the elevation and the service drive in Pass Christian. And what we found out in Katrina was neither site was saved or protected or safe.
And we just passed William Carey College there, one of the private colleges on the coast, the Naval Home, or the Armed Forces Home it's called now. The residents have now been moved to Washington, D.C. They may be moved back to the coast, but it was a lot of destruction there at the Naval Home.
Coming up on the corner of Anniston Avenue and the service drive. Again, this is at the end of the service drive before it dips back down and disappears into Highway 90.
And we're driving on the southern part of the road. That's the reason the view is blocked a little bit at times. And even though the oak trees did lose almost all their leaves, they are starting to come back.
An American flag waving in the wind. A symbol that people are coming back.
Many of the houses that were destroyed, items from those houses were blown or washed a block or 2 blocks north, wherever the surge line left. Sometimes people would find things there.
Approaching Cal and Lorraine Road, a condominium development, Chateau de la Mar, was at that intersection. And this is what remains today of Chateau de la Mar. The front office complex is gone. The front condominium project's gone. The rear one's taking a lot of damage.
One of our anchors just lived just north of there, and her house was completely destroyed.
Funtime USA and a little golf course, bumper boats, other attractions like Wet Willie, which were in the process of being redeveloped as a condominium project. New hotels and motels that had just recently popped up on the landscape of the Mississippi Gulf Coast today are gone.
All we're seeing here is just really just shells, or just the foundation. And all these, there was a little restaurant there as well. But this is just really shows you the force of the water. All is gone except maybe some of the superstructure.
That's the site of where the convention center was, the
Harrison County Tourism
and Convention area.
Right in this area. We're approaching Tea Garden Road.
Mm-hmm. The old Fairchild's Hotel property.
And this is now we are at Tea Garden Road right here.
The Outback Steakhouse.
Yep.
Well-known landmark. War's department store.
Yeah, and K. War had also there was an eye shop there, and now we're coming on an area where there's a lot of small bars and restaurants. Every one of them is, of course, is gone. And as you look back, really, it goes back 2 or 3 blocks, the destruction. It's not just right on the beach, it's 2 or 3 blocks back. Again, we're looking at all the debris that just everything's gone. A lot of lives, a lot of dreams that people have had in their houses that they've got to restart. The question is, will they rebuild here on the coast, or will the coast become more condominiums? That's going to be one of the big topics that will be debated in the weeks and months to come.
Courthouse
Road. There was a service station right there at the corner. Apartment complex here as we're just passing it. Another American flag that Leon we've seen. That's one thing about the coast. I've seen more American flags. People have not lost their pride and their self-esteem. They want people to know that they're proud to be Americans. I'm not sure exactly. I think this is still some more apartment complexes that we're going past.
And now the Gulfport VA Center.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll see they had a beautiful fence that protected that property, but it couldn't protect it from Katrina. Today, that chain link fence just stands there as kind of a temporary barrier. That old property had been there for years and years and sustained heavy damage from Katrina. You'll see a good bit of the evidence of Katrina's passing through as we pass and see the buildings. That was a brand new brick structure that was built with modern architectural design and thought and to current codes, and Katrina just blew right through it.
Millions of dollars worth of damage there, no doubt. I mean, it's heavily damaged.
These were some beautiful old homes. Several of these were brand new structures.
Just right there, yeah.
And the structures there, again, were built to what we thought was today's standards, so it would withstand Category 3, 4, and 5 storms.
At least they thought they would just blow out the bottom floor and they have the rest of the building, but it just didn't. It just didn't work that way with Katrina.
Again, I see debris and trees. I see the little scribbles on the curbs for people to identify their piece of property.
Now we're just past Hughes Avenue there. This is, I think the Wetzel home there still survived. It probably will still have to be torn down, but part of it still did survive.
It's kind of difficult to comprehend and understand that on those lots sat homes that survived hurricanes in 47, hurricanes in 69,
and Betsy,
and all the other storms that we've had. And today, they're gone.
So the force of the water had to be so tremendous to do this, because these homes were not shoddy homes. These were homes that were built with a lot of love and a lot of care. I think this was Bill Peden's house. We just passed a friend of mine at a house on the beach, and just gone. Behind the area where we are now is 2nd Street, and the houses on 2nd Street were just the houses on the southern side were pushed into the north side, and so the whole street, 2nd Street, which was one of the most beautiful streets in Gulfport, was just destroyed.
As I drove down 2nd Street, I remember looking to the right as I was traveling east and seeing those homes that were totally destroyed, looking to the left and seeing the homes that had been destroyed by those that were on the right, that had got pushed up into them. And I didn't know who I felt sorrier for, whether it was the person who lost their entire home and had nothing but a slab, or the person who had a half a home and had to figure out how to dig out, how to restore, to rebuild, and to salvage what they could.
Again, all the beautiful oak trees. This is really what makes the coast so special, our beautiful trees. Everyone really values these trees, and they've gone through so much, and we know many of them will come back, but we did lose a number of oak trees, but many of these oak trees are 200, 300, 400 years old.
You probably have a pretty good view right now of what it's like, because you're looking one block in to see a structure. And what you're seeing in a lot of places, you're looking a full block in where houses set on the beachfront. Behind them on 2nd Street, on the south side of 2nd Street, another house set. And then what you're seeing is really the house on the north side of 2nd Street.
That's a Holiday Inn in Gulfport. The whole first floor was gone. The Chimneys Restaurant, one of our wonderful kind of antebellum homes, that was a wonderful restaurant. It just collapsed in itself. One of our newer developments here, what's it called, Leon?
15th Street.
15th Street, yes.
This was the point of 15th Street and Highway 90. There was a Mexican restaurant, before that a service station. The old BPOE building where the
church, a brand new Episcopal church we're coming up on. It was
St.
really
Peter's.
a gorgeous church. As you can see, the bottom half of it was at least destroyed. And we're going to see two other churches here in just a second, a Presbyterian Baptist church that were destroyed.
In the background, you see the new federal building. And
Here's our library. It was destroyed in 1969, Camille, and it was also now destroyed here in Katrina. This is a look of downtown Gulfport, various buildings. This is one of our churches. That's the Baptist church. We're coming up on the Presbyterian in just a second.
The old Markham building, which was a hotel originally, built in the 1920s.
See the Hancock Bank building in the background.
One of the tragedies of the storm might be the Markham building. I understand that they're still looking at the structural integrity of the building.
Now look at the Presbyterian church. A lot of damage there as well. This is the downtown business section, the old post office we're looking at.
One of the most traveled intersections, Highway 90 and Highway 49.
Yep.
Looking back up, Highway 49.
And Hancock Bank, while it didn't look like there was a lot of damage to it, will have to be closed for probably at least the middle of 2006, if not longer.
For many years, an old Ford dealership, the Bavostolet family operated a Ford dealership there, and some will remember the Co-op store and other downtown merchants in downtown Gulfport and the Best Western Inn, operated by the Salome families.
Mississippi Power Company building here. This is their main headquarter building. Will have to be closed for a good while because of the flood damage there. One thing about down in this area, there were a lot of containers that were washed out from the port. Contained frozen chickens and other animal parts, and it was quite a mess to clean up all this area after the storm. Took a National Guard spent weeks down there actually trying to clean up this area because of all the debris.
We're just north of the port of Gulfport, and much of the debris from the port did scatter through this area. It seemed to have moved north, and it also moved a little bit west. And the debris from the port started here and really went all the way to Long Beach.
Brazil's restaurant, which is one of our really well-known restaurants, heavily damaged. This is the Oasis, part of the Grand Casino in Gulfport. Question or not whether the casino will reopen in Gulfport's not known at this time. And we're in the south side, south lane of Highway 90 going west. Coming up on we should see the USS Camille here, a little tugboat that was blown ashore during Camille and still there during Katrina. I would think it'd be coming up just shortly.
This video obviously was shot a few weeks after the storm, but because by this time we had cleaned up many of the cargo containers and the rolls of newsprint that were scattered from the harbor. They literally littered this area.
And that ship that tugboat did not move. Really didn't look like, even with the winds of Katrina and the water of Katrina. We're approaching Broad Avenue, which is one of the main entrances to our CB base and goes to Gulfport Memorial Hospital. There were some restaurants here, a Pizza Inn, gas station. I think there's a hotel or two.
There's some of the shipping containers that were displaced out of the port. Two cranes in the background, two track hose back there working to clean the debris and move things around. Another 3 track hose in sight. It amazes me how many people came to our aid. We had volunteers from throughout the country. We had professional people who follow storms around in order to make a living. We just had a lot of people who came to the Mississippi Gulf Coast and took part in the rebuilding of the coast. Newsprint.
We just passed Broad Avenue, In this part of Gulfport, as you head towards Long Beach, it's really sometimes hard to tell where one street is. It seems like the destruction in this part because maybe because of all the things washed ashore, the newsprint, the trucks, so on and so forth. There's more newsprint. It just really, it's hard to tell where you are.
We are now probably a mile or more from the port of Gulfport, and here we are with this debris, which specifically came from the
That's
port of
newsprint,
Gulfport.
yeah. They bring in just huge rolls that's used in the paper making industry here in our country.
Brand new condominium project that had
Kind
just
of
been
Italian.
finished.
It was a
Tuscany Village.
Tuscany. I was up in one of them. They were gorgeous. One of the really finer condominium projects here on the coast, but it still received a lot of damage.
You see how much debris remains in the trees today. In fact, we're now 10 or 11 weeks after the storm, and I can tell you as you travel around the Mississippi Gulf Coast, it's still easy to spot debris and trees, water lines still on the interstate that you look at each time and go, how could that be?
This was a residential area for the most part, plus some commercial hotels, condominiums. It looks like there was nothing ever here. I mean, it's if you were a person who's just looking at this video, you would say, well, there was nothing ever there.
Yeah.
But there were homes.
This is the dividing line of Biloxi and Gulfport. We're
Gulfport.
right here on the line of it now.
Long Beach.
I'm sorry, Long Beach and Gulfport. And again, look through the first piece of property. Look back.
About a quarter of a mile back before you actually see any houses standing. Yeah.
We're in Long Beach. We just saw a truck that came out of the harbor, and you look back, and there's 2, 3, or 4 houses that are impacted by the storm surge that are gone.
You know, one thing about the damage, it really went from Pascagoula, Mississippi, all the way to Slidell, Louisiana, and that's probably a distance of 80 to 100 miles, and it's all along the water, just like this. Not just along the water on the front, but anywhere where the sea connected, where tidal, there was a tide of some sort, everything was destroyed because of the tidal surge.
See these broken pieces of trailers, the tires that are upside down, laying on someone's property. And if you looked south from here and looked out into the water, you'd see the same view. There were pieces and parts of trailers and containers and newsprint that are in the water. They washed in with the tidal surge, washed back out as the tides receded.
Right after the storm, many of our streets, of course, were covered with trees. Many people from the CB base, other National Guard, and other agencies, besides the homeowner, came out and helped cut out some of these trees so people could go and get onto their property, could get onto roads. While it looks like a mess maybe right now, it has been cleaned up so much since the storm.
This is Gulf Park College. It was a girls' school, later adopted by the University of Southern Mississippi and made a campus here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the Friendship Oak.
Friendship Oak, we should be able to, I think you look through here right now, you're seeing the Friendship Oak. It's one of the oldest oak trees on the coast. It's one of the most photographed trees probably anywhere in America. A lot of people have been married there over the years and had a lot of courtships there. The campus hopes to come back. It's not known yet. They're meeting at various places. A lot of water damage was done to this beautiful college campus.
Much work has already been done there. As you can see, they've cleaned the grounds up. After the storm, this area was just littered with stuff. And here's the St. Thomas Church, the Catholic church in the city of Long Beach. Their new church, their original church is there. They had just built a new multi-purpose building immediately to the west of this.
Yeah, you'll see it here in just a second.
And on the site of the original St. Thomas Church, which was damaged by a barge that beat it down during Hurricane Camille. But it's set right there on the site of that. Chappie's Restaurant property. A couple of local hotels have developed recently in this area.
Again, looking at it, you see the slab, and that's and some plastic that's been washed around. but no sign of any other structures except if you go back a quarter of a mile or so. We're approaching now. If you look to the south side, you'd be seeing the Long Beach Harbor, where a couple of restaurants stood. These were some restaurants on the north side.
Barnaby's.
There's also a gift shop. We're passing the gift shop here.
And then they had the McDonald's restaurant. Immediately behind that was a shopping center that contained the Save-A Center, the Kmart, other retail establishments. So this was kind of a retail center for the city of Long Beach. And
probably one of the better retail bases, I guess, for tax bases was right here. We're coming up on Jeff Davis Avenue, which is a main drive, I guess you say, in Long Beach.
Yes.
There's a gas station located right along this area, too. I guess, was that the Waffle House there?
Waffle House, then followed by the Chevron station, and that was the gateway to Long Beach. That was our main street.
There it is, right there.
Back in the distance, you see the First Baptist Church of Long Beach. Reman's Funeral Home and other Merchants Bank and other establishments were on the right-hand side. But this was the Long Beach downtown. This was the way you got into downtown Long Beach. First Baptist Church, the steeple stands on the new church, which is now gone.
You know, I guess if you looked at Long Beach today and compared it to Camille, probably there's even maybe more damage today here than even in Camille, even though Long Beach was really heavily damaged in Camille.
Look, again, I would draw your attention to how deep you can see from the highway into the city of Long Beach, knowing that family after family was impacted because they lost their house. They thought they were safe. They were a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks off the beach, well off the beach. Many people chose to stay.
And for the most part, this is a residential area, single family, plus there was a lot of new condominium projects being built in this part of town.
This is an area that was being reinvented as Katrina hit it. I mean, a lot of old residential homes, some older hotels were being torn down, and condominium projects were being proposed on multiple sites in the city of Long Beach, and then the community was struggling with how big to let the condominium projects grow, and all the other questions about how it would tax the infrastructure.
And this is fairly low in this area. A lot of this area had not been built up for some time after Camille. In the last 10 to 15 years, a lot of construction had started into this part of the town of Long Beach, and as we get into past Christian. But I think people thought now, well, we haven't had a storm in so many years, it's safe to build again. And then Hurricane Katrina proved that maybe it wasn't as safe as you may have thought to build right here.
We're at the corner of Runnels Avenue now, Runnels and 90. It's an interesting part of the residential area. Some nice homes had been built in the post-Camille era.
One thing Leon was talking about, all the people that have come to help us. One of the most really heartwarming things, I believe, is all the churches that have come to South Mississippi. Almost in every community, you will find churches from almost every state in the nation that have come to help out our people, providing them food or water or maybe ability to tear out the old wet insulation or whatever in your house.
Yeah, and it's young and it's old. We have students who are coming in who are walking away from college for a week or two to come spend some time on the coast, and then we have retired people who've retired from their primary careers and gotten involved with a church group and have come to the Mississippi Gulf Coast to lend a helping hand.
Now we're about in, I guess we're in right at the Pass Christian area here, Leon. These were a lot of the new condominium projects that had just been started. And this is this low area I was talking about that had started being built back since Camille. And when you get down into some of this area, it's hard to really tell one block from the other because many of the condominiums sort of looked alike to me, at least, and many of them were built back a block or so. Really, they weren't built right on the beach, but as you can see, the water came along and destroyed them all.
Yeah, we all talked about it as we traveled on Highway 90, especially in this area. It was difficult to figure out where each street was and which street was which without the landmarks. It all starts to look very much alike. This is actually the area of Pitcher Point where they were trying to develop some condominium projects, and you're coming up on White Harbor Road. But you really had to stop and think. It wasn't instinctive or natural to say, oh, that's where I am. I need to go 2 more blocks and take a right. You just had to know, oh, this is White Harbor, and take it with a great element of trust. I did see a signpost that said White Harbor's there just as I was saying that. And it was one of the few that was standing. Most of the signposts were down. So we're now in Pass Christian. This is the beginning of Pass Christian.
Someone has said that about 80% of the houses in Pass Christian were either significantly damaged or destroyed.
This is the Walmart, which was a big retail boom for the city of Pass Christian. They were quite proud of the Walmart. When they built it, it kind of brought to life the retail economy of the city of Pass Christian. It gave them a food store, it gave them a super center, and it gave them a tax base that they had not had before. Again, condominium projects that neighbored the Walmart site. Tents and trailers, something we see a lot of these days. Those people who are coming here to help us are erecting these tents and staying in travel trailers.
That was probably one of the distribution points there as well, where people could come and get food and water and so on. One of our condominium projects there, a fairly new condominium project.
Some people had that false sense of security they had built on a little mound, an artificial mound that they had made when they brought all the dirt in. But as you see, those mounds were stripped clean by Katrina. Acre after acre of land that now looks very much alike.
And as you watch this tape, just thinking about we've traveled now, 20 some odd miles, probably close to 20 miles, and the destruction has been almost the same all along this 20 miles. So you just think about the force of that water as it came ashore. It wasn't just in one little area. It was spread out really for many, many miles along the Gulf of Mexico.
You know, forecasters may not be able to agree exactly where the epicenter or the true eye of the hurricane came in, but we have to be very, very close as you enter Pass Christian. Pass Christian, of course, was at the eye of Hurricane Camille, and again was very, very close, certainly in that northeast quadrant of the storm that does the most damage. A lot of tornadic activity. Piles and piles of debris. Hidden behind them are shells of houses, homes that people used to live in.
If I'm not mistaken, now we're coming up on the scenic drive here in Pass Christian. These were many homes that were built back in the 1860s or maybe even earlier. A lot of people from New Orleans owned a lot of these homes. They were weekend homes at one time. Some of the most beautiful just housing area you would ever see. Very distinctive, each one.
I have great hope that some of these homes will come back. I mean, we're hoping that the owners of those homes have the wherewithal and the fortitude to rebuild those homes and return them to their pre-Katrina state, because there were some beautiful homes there.
And some of them were up. That area there is a little higher than most of Pass Christian, and hopefully some of the homes, like Leon said, were not destroyed beyond repairability. I know I've at least talked to one owner of a home there that really didn't get any water at all, which is amazing. One of the highest points really in South Mississippi, down in this area. That's just a representative of one of the beautiful old antebellum homes that was along the beachfront.
I see a blue roof, and that's one of the first we've seen, because much of what we've seen thus far on our trip down Highway 90 has been in areas where you had nothing left to repair. And at some point, a blue roof was a sign of hope or optimism, because it meant that you had a home that was worth saving. There was something there worth saving, and you had plans to rebuild. So as we see a few of those blue roofs scattered in among the homes here on the scenic drive in Pass Christian, it's kind of encouraging that those homes will be back.
And you look, we're on the south side of the highway. There's the north side as well, and you can see the road is pretty well destroyed just north of where we are. Shows you the utter destruction of the water.
See someone standing there is just staring at the homes. The home tilted strong to the right, obviously damaged.
Besides the high water we received in the storm surge, there were just hundreds, if not thousands, of little tornadoes that went through, and they may have twisted part of a house on one corner, leaped, and then gone to another street. But not only do you have the storm surge, but you have high winds, and you also have a lot of tornadoes that occur during a hurricane.
It's an area that when I see this area, I always associate a thought about Mardi Gras parades. The city of Pass Christian was quite proud of their Carnival Association, and they had cars lined up in this area every year on the Sunday before Mardi Gras, and they would have their great festive event, a Mardi Gras parade, and these homes would all have all their guests in their front yards.
And I think this is War Memorial Park that we're passing. This is kind of the center of Pass Christian. A lot of, like you said, Leon, a lot of the parade started there. They had a lot of Christmas different events in that part of town. Literally a lot of destruction here. I mean, just the trees down, houses that were built very strong just became bits and pieces of boards. The erosion of the road, you can see, it's just amazing that it's gone.
The downtown Pass Christian area, this was the beginning of the downtown era. Hancock Bank's building welcomed people to the city of Pass Christian. You could wander your way back into the streets of Pass Christian and see old homes and old buildings that people had restored, moved back into.
The Blue Rose restaurant, which is right in this area, it was well known, gone through many owners.
The Catholic Church on the scenic drive, staring down Camille, staring down Katrina, staring down other storms. Again, this is a downtown area of Pass Christian.
A lot of homes in this area still was residential homes as we approach the Henderson Point area for another mile or two down. Blue Rose, yeah.
Then there was a nursing home right at the end of the service drive, and you'll see it right as it comes into view. That's I think City Hall.
City Hall, yeah. City Hall was, I think, is operating now out of a double wide. It was virtually destroyed.
And the nursing home, as we just quickly scanned through it. This is all immediately north of the Pass Christian Yacht Harbor, for those of you who've had a chance to visit Pass Christian. And as we head a little bit further west, off towards Bay St. Louis.
Pass Christian was such a beautiful, scenic town, a small town, but people really took pride in the homes that lived there and kept everything up. We were hoping that it'll be able to build back again. As we said earlier, 80% of the homes in Pass Christian were either heavily damaged or destroyed. So that's probably one of the most devastation of any small city, as well as Bay St. Louis and Wavell and Hancock County.
This is the shopping center where they're a food store and a little shopping area. The people of Pass Christian were so delighted when they got that food store to open, because for many, many years the people of Pass Christian did not have a supermarket.
As houses were destroyed, people would be sifting through trying to find things, and they may find things from a neighbor a block away. The water rose and carried items many feet, many yards away, And as you looked at the debris line, you really sometimes didn't know if this is material from my house or my neighbors or someone down the street. Just the erosion from the water is what amazes me as you look at the shots through here, how it just washed away parts of the surfaces near the road. There were some big houses built down in this area of town as well. It had really had a kind of a renaissance of new building in this part of the Pasquishan. And what's interesting, you'll go along for a little ways and you'll see just debris, and then all of a sudden you'll find a lot that looks like it's pristine and nothing's ever happened to it.
I think a lot of nervous energy went into cleaning some of these lots. You know, when you were faced with the idea that you had lost everything and you wanted something to look normal, I think a lot of us went to work immediately to try to figure out how to make our lots look normal and to remove as much of the debris as possible.
That's one of the new houses,
Yeah, one of the 2 new homes that are built
Yeah.
in Pasquishan. As you get into the big curve and head towards Henderson Point and Pasquishan.
This area was, of course, you had the bayou behind you, and then you had the Gulf of Mexico in front of you. So this area down here really got inundated by water from both sides.
You know, you see our photographer occasionally slow up or speed up, and I'm sure that as I traveled Highway 90, I remember that there were areas I'd get caught looking to the left or to the right to see something and forget that the road wasn't always there. And you'd have to stop and think and be careful when you drive, or else you would just drop off into one of those sinkholes that was caused by all the erosion of Katrina.
Like you said, this is really at Henderson Point, almost near, I'd say, pretty close to the curve. Leading towards, actually this is as far as you can drive down. I remember this is right before you get to Henderson Point, the curve there.
And right till you get to the Bay St. Louis Bridge, which was tragically lost and for a long time left the city of Bay St. Louis and the city of Pasquishan cut off. So, you know, it's kind of
it's really amazing to see the devastation. We all know that the coast will come back. And what we question, of course, will be what will we look like in 5 or 10 years from now.
Yeah, with hope we say we're going to look better.